What's up guys, we're here in a new video of TCA, and this time we're going to make a comparison of these two editions of X-Men Dark Phoenix Saga that were published here in Mexico. As you can see, we have here the Marvel Monster Edition that Editorial Televisa published in 2015, and next to this one we have the two trades that were also published by Televisa in 2006. We begin with the most recent version. As we already told you, it was a Monster Edition published in October 2015. And it has 182 pages. This one collects the full story of Dark Phoenix, that is obviously Uncanny X-Men from 129 to 138. Dark Phoenix Saga is one of the most successful and well-known stories of all time, not only of Marvel, but of comics in general. Chris Claremont and John Byrne were responsible for this incredible story. This one follows Jean Grey, who, after being exposed to the solar flare, gains a great increase in his psychic and telepathic abilities. After an encounter with the Hellfire Club, Jean was psychically harassed by Emma Frost and Mastermind to turn her into the Dark Queen. Instead, she became Dark Phoenix, a force of nature with an appetite and power of cosmic scale. It traveled to space and devoured a planet belonging to the Shi'ar Empire, and they went after the mutant to demand justice. The story ends with the X-Men facing the Imperial Shi'ar Guard in a fight for the fate of Jean Grey. When the mutants were defeated, Jean, in his Marvel Girl form, began to awake the power of the Phoenix, and fearful to becoming Dark Phoenix again, she used a weapon to commit cosmic suicide. Going through the details of this edition, the cover has a special varnish that highlights colors. Being a Monster Edition, has a size larger than the regular comics. The binding of the monsters are usually made so that the comic does not bend as much as the monthly comics do. The spine is black and has the Marvel Mexico logo, the title of the comic, and the legend Marvel Monster Edition. On the back, we have the original covers of the 9 comics that belong to this saga, along with a synopsis. The power of Dark Phoenix has fully awakened. The entire universe trembles upon knowing, can the X-Men fight against Jean Grey, his dearest friend, and even kill her to end the greatest threat in history? Inside, we have the index, and in the next page the story begins. In the end, we have a single cover that was a variant of this same trade. These pages are thicker and larger than those of a standard comic, in addition to this being a kind of opaline, which, combined with Byrne's art, looks pretty good. Moving on to the previous editions, these collected editions are very similar to the editions published by Bid a long time ago. The first volume collects 129 to 133, while the second one collects from 134 to 138, and both of them complete the Dark Phoenix story. As you can see, these are a bit mistreated due to the time and the wrong way to preserve these volumes. Both have a brief synopsis in the back. When Dark Phoenix rises, the sun freezes and the universe dies. Jean Grey may have lived to become a goddess, but for her it was more important to die as a human being. Speaking of the story, both editions have the same plot and the same translation. In fact, we're almost certain that the material they used to print these volumes was the same that they used to edit the Monster Edition 9 years later. The translation is exactly the same and has no change, at least not that we have noticed. The size of these editions is the same of a standard monthly comics, and they don't have any cover gallery. These were published almost at the beginning that Televisa acquired Marvel licenses to publish its comics. In fact, these were published with the same paper quality of their first editions. For those who don't know, Televisa downgraded the quality of its editions for the purpose to lower costs, so they just printed their comics on a lower quality paper. Fortunately, these pages, despite being so old, are more resistant than those of the currently published comics. They are not as thick and colorful as those of the Monster Edition, but they are still quite decent. The spines have the title of the story along with a legend that says Official Marvel Product. On the back cover, we can see that they have an X, and the first one has pictures of Professor X, Cyclops, Jean, Emma Frost, Nightcrawler, and Wolverine, while the second has the original 9 covers. The detail that is worth some mention is that each of these volumes was priced at 29 pesos. In American dollars, is just a little bit more of $1. That is to say that in 2016 we bought these editions for only 58 pesos, while right now a normal 24-page comic has a price higher than 32 pesos. On the other hand, the Marvel Monster Edition had a price of 139 pesos. Currently, it's very difficult to find these editions, but thanks to the recent adaptation of Dark Phoenix, Televisa published a third print of this story again in a Monster Edition. Sadly, Hollywood have tried to adapt this story twice and really none of them met the expectations. This is it for now. Tell us, what do you think of these editions? And what is your favorite format to buy comics? We're TCA. We'll see you in another video.